Okay, hockey fans, the Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air. It's, October already, and college has started, the pros have started, and it's a new season, the 24-25 season for Minnesota hockey. So a lot to talk about and what we're doing this year and what I've done already, seen some of the teams I've seen, and boy, I've been busy. You won't believe it. From September through now, I have seen close to 150 games already. And it all started in first part of September. I started going to the Upper Midwest Elite League, which is elite high school players that get an extra 24 games extra a year from their high school. So that gets them pretty equal to what the juniors play. They play 60 games plus playoffs. So that helps them out a lot and keeps them competitive when they go to juniors with the other junior players. So I've been to about 25 of those games. I've only seen one Wild game that was a preseason game, but the Wild, hey, they started out good. They lost their first game, Saturday, to Philadelphia, but they've been playing pretty good. They're 5-1 and 2 that went into overtime that they lost. But 5-1 and 2. So good for them, and I hope they can keep it up. And boy, everyone else is going, but hey, it looks like a lot of the same teams that are going to be leading these league. The Florida Panthers are in top of the Atlantic Division so far. We're only in 10% of the season right now. Most teams are 8 to 10 games in. And then Tampa is number 2, and Buffalo's number 3 in the Atlantic. And then my team to win it all is number 1 over in the Eastern. That's New York Rangers, Metropolitan really. New York Rangers, and then New Jersey second, and then seems like a lot of teams are 5-2, 5-2, and then even. But so it's going to be a long season, a lot of players, and over on the Central, Winnipeg, boy, they haven't lost a game, 8-0-0. They got 2 Hermantown kids on there. They got Neil Piant and Dylan Sandberg. So good for them, starting out strong. And then Dallas has a second. They went to the finals last year in semifinals. And then they got Minnesota goalie Jake Ottinger. He played for Lakeville North, and they won the state tournament in, I think it was 2015. I think they went undefeated that year, too. That's one of the few teams that went undefeated in high school hockey. So a lot of Minnesota players, and I was just looking at a lot of the list of Minnesota kids. And some of them, here's a list of just Minnesota kids that played high school that already scored a goal in the National Hockey League this year. Jackson Blake, he played for Eden Prairie. Brock Nelson, Warroad. Anders Lee, he played for Edina. Johnny Brzezinski, Blaine. Ryan Lindgren, he played for Lakeville. Keandra Miller, he played for the Minnetonka Skippers. Bobby Brink, another one from the Skippers. Minnetonka Skippers, and he was on the state championship team, and he was on D1 Denver University championship team too. So he's getting a lot of championships so far in his young career. Now he's at Philadelphia. Nick Sealer, he played for Eden Prairie. Nate Schmidt, St. Cloud Cathedral. Jake Genzel, Hill Murray. Brock Besser, Burnsville. Mickey Anderson, Hill Murray. Neil Piant, Hermantown. Dylan Sandberg, Hermantown. Nick Bukestad, Blaine. Justin Falk, South St. Paul. Brady Shea, Lakeville North. Tommy Novak, St. Thomas Academy. and Casey Middlestaff, Eden Prairie. All these players I just named scored a goal already in the National Hockey League this 24-25 season. And there's a lot of players that are playing already, but they haven't scored a goal, but they got assists. Mike Riley, Holy Angels, Ryan Pulling, Lakeville North, Noah Cates, Stillwater, Eric Johnson. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Eric Johnson did not play any high school hockey. He played at Shattuck in the development team. Riley Tufte, a Mr. Hockey from Blaine. Justin Hall, Tonka, Minnetonka. Nick Jensen, Rogers. Nick Perbix, Elk River. Ryan McDonough, Cretan Durham Hall. Derek Forberg, Duluth East. Will Borgen, Moorhead, Scott Peritovich, Hibbing, Nick Letty, Eden Prairie, Joey Anderson, Hill Murray, and Riot Kaiser Andover. And the funny thing about this, because I see so many high school games, I don't even have the high schools next to their name. I just remember them in high school still. That's the nice thing when you go to 400 games. You watch these kids when they're in Pee-wees and Bannons, then they go to high school, and then they get to juniors, and then they go to college, and then these are the lucky ones. They get to the top level, National Hockey League. So a lot of Minnesota kids. And usually, most years, there's 50 Minnesota kids that played high school hockey that will play a game or more in National Hockey League. And this year, I think it's going to go higher than that. So that's a good thing. So I've been to, let's see, after the Elite League, I went out to Pittsburgh, and they have the Fall Classic with the USHL, the Tier 1, the only Tier 1 junior league. It's the best, and almost every kid gets committed to a D1 college. So that's a nice thing when you play in that league. It's a top league, and they're tough. And I saw 16 USHL teams, and I saw about 30, 40 U15s, U16s, and U18 teams play out there. So it was a fun week. And you go from 8 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. So that was a fun week out there. And the USHL plays all their games at the Pittsburgh Penguins training camp in Cranberry Township. And it's one of the nicest in any sport, pro setup for their training camp, weight rooms, locker rooms, film rooms, dinner rooms, and dinner little places they can cook a steak or a salmon, whatever, it's beautiful. They did a great job out there, and it's connected right with the big orthopedic hospital. So if a Penguin's practicing and he has a problem, excuse me, he has a problem, they're right there for him. They got all these orthopedic doctors. And plus, if someone got hurt during the regular season and needs a rehab for a couple of weeks, they just go there and they have all of the equipment, jacuzzis, whatever they need is right there. So I've been to training camps and other sports before just to look over it, but this is amazing how they do it. Everyone should copy the Penguins training camp. It's just beautiful. So that was my first long trip. Then I came back home for one day, and then I went down to the Twin Cities, and then the North American Hockey League every year has their showcase. They have, I think, 32 teams, and they come from they're all over the United States. It's Tier 2. So it's very good. It's improved a lot over the last 10 years. It's not as strong, as deep as the USHL, but I tell you what, it's getting better and better. And so they have 32 teams there, and plus at least 80 other youth teams, like U16, U18 teams there. And so they're going 8 rinks from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 at night every day. So 8 rinks, and plus they use a couple others at Fogarty down the block too. So really they're using 10 rinks. And so it's crazy. So you're watching hockey all the time. And so I saw probably another at least 50 games in those 5 days. So right there, like I'm saying, it's crazy, all the games I've been to already and all the Minnesota players I've seen. And one thing about the juniors, though, seems to be a lot more players that are not going to the elite league, the upper Midwest elite league, because they're going to juniors before and after high school. But sometimes a player is playing so good out there in the juniors, they're really pressured on staying. So November 11th is the first day of practice for high school hockey in Minnesota, and that's where we wait and see, make sure all these players do come back, because sometimes they say they are, but then they don't, and some say that they're staying and they come back, so it's just best to wait. But a couple of players that really caught my eye was Mason Mole from Eden Prairie, and I think there's a good chance he might not come back, because he was playing really good out there in the fall classic out there in Pittsburgh. And then another player, hey, remember Dave Spehar when he got 3 hat tricks in '95 state tournament when Duluth East won it? His kid Sam is playing for Sioux Falls. So he was playing real good. Small kid, but he's getting better and better. And he's going to be going to DU. It's funny how DU gets some of the best Minnesota players. They might only get 1 or 2, but they really study these kids and type of player they like. And so he'll be going to DU. So DU just reloads all the time. One of the best hockey programs in college hockey. And that makes the NCHC league one of the top. And Arizona State has joined the league now, and St. Thomas will be joining when their arena's built. They broke ground down there in St. Paul. And it's kind of funny, I just saw the 2 games, the Minnesota Gophers this weekend playing St. Thomas Tommies. They had 1 game at Mariucci Friday night, and then they had a game, they put it at the XL. It was a good crowd at the XL. I mean, it was over 10,000 at the XL. And then Mariucci, except for the one end opposite of the students, it was pretty full. But the Gophers are just too strong, man. They dressed 15 National Hockey League draft picks, and that's a lot, where the Tommies only had 2. And a lot of these teams are that way, like Mankato and Bemidji State. So St. Cloud State has a lot of National Hockey League draft picks on playing college hockey too, though. So, but in Minnesota hockey in college, I think the 2 best teams are going to be the Gophers and St. Cloud State. Then UMD is very young. They've been playing like 11 freshmen every weekend. So they're young. So we'll see what happens if they can stay healthy, and maybe a half a year they'll get better used to the speed and the strength of these older players in college hockey. So it's time will tell. So, but it's great hockey. Get out to a college game, get out to a junior game. In high school, like I said, practice starts November 11th, and a lot of teams, some teams will be starting November 25th, their first game, and it really gets going the weekend right after Thanksgiving. So the end of November really gets going. And some of the high school teams I really like to get started, I'm just waiting to see what players come back before and after in juniors. If they come back, which teams I'll rank higher than the other, but I'll give you 5 teams I really like. Shakopee, so watch that team this year. You know what, I looked at their schedule, it's not as strong of the Edinas and Tonkas, which are in my top 5, but they got some players, and they'll give Edina and Tonka all they can handle. And who else did I like? Moorhead I liked a lot. And Rogers. So Rogers, Moorhead, Shakopee, Minnetonka, Edina, and then you get Wayzata every year. They're always up there when it comes to playoff time. I like them a lot. And then this year, every private school, Catholic school, is going to be very good. Any one of them can jump in the top 10 during the year. So teams like Hill Murray, Creighton Durham Hall, Holy Angels Academy, St. Thomas Academy, Benel St. Margaret, Totina Grace, Alton Fridley. Who else is out there in the cities? But every one of them is strong. So very strong teams. So the Catholic schools and basically the west side of the cities. And the only team there's two teams up north, the Moorhead over on the west side of the state, and Grand Rapids will be all right, but I don't see them competing with the big city teams like Edina and Tonka if they get to the state. So, and I mean, they got an easier chance getting to the state than most years. Andover is not going to be as strong as always, but I think it's going to come down to Andover and Grand Rapids up north here for the Section 7 AA. And then in Class A, we got a lot of good teams up here. We got Hibbing, Hermantown, Cloquet in Section 7A. They'll be fighting it out. And I say any one of those three can make it. Hermantown will always be the favorite, but it's going to be a lot of good competition up north. And so I would be watching those three teams. Rockridge went up to AA, and so did Deadfield. And now I'm looking at some of the scores and the competition. I don't know if they should have, but time will tell. Time will tell if they should be there or go back to AA. No, I mean single A. Sorry about that. But some of the local players, River Freeman, Hermantown, Henry Peterson, people to look at. What's it? Kyle Young, Cloquet, another person. All these players could possibly be playing D1 hockey, so I'd watch them. John Scott from Duluth Denfield. So you got a few good players. And up north, up in Luka Roloff. That's Mike Antonovich's grandkid for Rapids. He's a very good defenseman, so it's another one to watch at Grand Rapids. And this year, like I said, we got to wait until the USHL and the North American Hockey League, see which kids are coming back to finish their high school. And we'll know that Monday, November 11th, because that's the first day of practice, and they got to be back in school for that. But some of the players that were in the Elite League that I really liked and might be up for Mr. Hockey is Brody Dustin, Stillwater. His dad, Bobby Dustin, played for Roseville and the Minnesota Gophers. Let's see. You got Junior Podine, Benil. Sean Podine played for UMD, then played pro for about 10 years, his dad. So Junior's playing real good in the Elite League, one of the better players. Cooper Siegert for Shakopee, and one of the better players, and he's on the Pro Central Scouting Report right now, the Rogers defenseman, Nolan Gerdes. So very good defenseman. White Bear Lake has Jack Stanius, the top scorer in the Elite League. This kid can score from Chaplin Park. Brent Solomon. So that's another kid to watch out for. I mean, he's on Central Scouting National Hockey League draft list right now. And like I said before, Luke Roloff, Grand Rapids. Let's see, Matt Collins' boy, Brooks Collins, at Moorhead. His other brother is playing for the U18 team. Wait a minute, 17 team. U17 team, and he has a Bantam kid that's really good too. So he's got 3 kids that'll probably play D1 college and see if they get to the pros. So must be in the blood. Matt Collin had a great career. He played almost 20 years. And then another player I think will be probably toward the top of the list if he's back playing high school, and I think he will be, because I think Shakopee has a good chance of winning the state if he comes back with the other players. Cooper Simpson, remember that name. And then Park Cottage Grove has a kid, Jason Root. So there's some of the better players that played in the Elite League that we'll be watching all season long in high school in the regular season. And then some younger players I really liked was Max Anderson, a junior at Cretan Durham Hall. KJ Sauer Jr. at Andover, he's a junior. But one of the better players, and he's only a 9th grader, a Edina kid, Freddie Schneider. Remember that name. I bet he plays 1 year and he goes over to Andover to the development team, the U17 team next year. We'll see. But this kid, man, he was looking good yesterday, and then I find out he's only a 9th grader. He was playing like he was a senior. So it'll be fun watching a lot of these kids this year. One of the biggest coach changes this year has been Mike Randolph. He coached at Duluth East for, boy, at least a little over 30 years at Duluth East. Then he went down St. Thomas Academy, and he was there for 2 years. And then, like up at East, a parent, he cut one of these kids last year, and the parent has little money and a lot of power at the school. He's on the board of directors, and thought he better get him out of there because it's always someone he cuts or he drops down from the first line or special teams, and those are the people that are always going to say bad things about the coach. And then they tell their friends, and the friends will say bad things, and they never talk to the guy once in their life. It's a crazy world in this hockey world. But I bet it happens in a lot of sports now. It's just parents, sometimes I think they should not have parents at the games. But I can't control that. So, but Mike is up at Northern Lakes. That's up in Brainerd area, Breezy Point, kind of the resort area, all the lakes up there. And it's an A team. And his first game is against Prairie Center. And they're changing the menu where they're going to a bigger rink because the first game, if he wins, he's going to be the most win coach in high school hockey, boys hockey. So that's amazing because, first of all, you got to be there a long time. But second, his schedule was the toughest of any school in the state for almost 20 years. Right now, the toughest schedule is the Lake Conference teams like Minnetonka, Edina, Wayzata, Eden Prairie. Those schools, play the toughest schedule by far now. And so you got to give the guy credit. And look at how many. I asked Lou Nanny, who was last year broadcasting the state high school tournament, and he's done this for over 50 years. And I asked him name probably 5 championship games in the state high school tournament. And 3 of them he had Duluth East in. I mean, he had the game with Spihar scoring hat tricks every game. In the championship game against Matt Collin, who played 20 years in the pros. He had the next year, he had the 6 overtime game against Apple Valley. Well, that was in the semi game, but so he said that was one of the best games ever. And then later on, he had, I forget what year, but it was Eden Prairie, and they went 3 overtimes, and Kyle Rock dived to the ice and pushed the puck. The puck was just laying in front of the net and pushed it in. And I watched that game over and over again. What a game. I mean, it was. And a lot of people will say the same thing. Those were three of the best games ever in high school hockey state tournament. But so Mike's up at Northern Lakes now. He's bringing a assistant coach from the cities, Tom Klein. Everyone calls him TK, and he's a very good goalie coach too. So he knows his goalies. And him and Mike, Tom will be coming up from the cities every Monday, and they'll stay up there in the winter time once they get up there on Monday and go back home on Saturdays. But they'll have a place to stay. I guess people have homes up there that the older people leave for Florida or Arizona, and so they had a couple places that they can stay at. And I bet they get a good rental there for that. Rent price. But they'll be up there this year. And funny thing about it, they're coming down and playing Duluth-Denfield on the 19th of December at the Duluth Heritage Center. So I'll be bringing this up a few more times because it'll be a fun game. And Dale Jagel and Mike Randolph are buddies from coaching each other in Duluth East, Duluth Denfield games. So it'll be fun. But like I said, first game, if he wins, he'll be the winningest coach in high school boys hockey. And I think it's 708 wins. So that's amazing. Another funny thing I laugh about, you put Mike Randolph and Tom Klein's years of coaching, it comes up to 90. 90 years of coaching between those two coaches. That is amazing. Really amazing. And congratulations to both of them for helping out these kids all these years and develop their games. Well, we're coming to the end of our first show, and like I say, we'll have guests. We're going to start the season. I'd like to start with a lot of high school coaches, and so we'll start with that. And I'm going to be gone next week, but I might try to get a guest and pre-tape a show before that. But if not, we'll get going with guests and everything in 2 weeks. And it's going to be a good season, a lot of hockey to talk about. And the Wild will be in full blast, and all the colleges and high school, everything will be going full blast. So thanks a lot for another season, and hey, we'll see you at the rink. Thank you, Jim, Liz, Sean. Thank you all for producing the show. Thank you.